Hi friends, this is Caitlin from Caitlin Annalie Cards, and I couldn't be more excited today to be joining you from the Possum Stamps YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how I turned the sweetest little flower card from the Spring Day stamp set into a shaker card. So I paired it up with the cloudy stencil. I love this stencil because you get all of those cloudy borders as well as those individual clouds in the middle. It just gives you so many options. And I am going to be using the Spring Day stamp set, and our main feature is going to be this absolutely amazing flower cart, but we're going to be tying in a lot of the other elements into our card today as well, especially those floral vases. So we're going to get started by stamping out our images, and I'm going to be using a Copic friendly ink to do this because I am going to be going in with my Copic markers to shade all of these in. I really hope that this card inspires you and gets you ready for spring. I don't know about where you live, but where I live on the east coast of the US, we just got random snow the other day, and it's the middle of April. Almost the end of April. Isn't that absolutely ridiculous? I am so ready for sunshine and warmer weather, and this card just filled me to the top with hope that that is right around the corner. I stamped my little crates and those floral vases twice because I really wanted to fill up the bottom of the scene with these super sweet images and kind of help to support that cart when everything is finished. My next step is going to be making my own stencil. So I am taking a pencil and I'm just creating kind of a curved hill, and I'm going to cut around my pencil line, and I'm going to take a little bit of washi tape and tape the top part that we trim off to the bottom part of the cardstock that we cut it from, and that way we have the positive and negative of our little hill. So we can go in and block off the bottom when we do the sky, and then just shift it upward, and we can block off the sky while we put in the grass. I love this technique because you can use these stencils over and over, and it just pretty much costs you nothing. So I'm going in with my Salvage Patina Distress ink, and I'm just blending right up on the top of that hill just to give a little bit of definition. And then I'm pulling in that cloud stencil, and I am just doing teeny tiny circles. I really want to keep the bulk of that color right up against the edge of those clouds. I rotate my stencil and I do one more layer right along that top. And then I'm going to go in and just add some color all the way around the edges of the card. I really like this because I feel like it gives a little bit of extra definition and framing to the piece because we are going to mat it, and I just think that it gives a little bit of pop. So I am now moving my washi tape to the top of my card so that I can put the top part of the stencil in place. And now I'm going in with some Shabby Shutters ink, and I am just really roughly blending that. I don't worry about the blending on the grass because grass to me never looks smooth anyway in real life, and I also know that I'm going to be filling up that space with all those cute little images that we just stamped out. I'm going to set that stencil aside so I can use it again next time, and now I'm going in with my Copic markers. I decided to use my E40s to color in the crates and the top portion of my cart. I just thought that these were nice and neutral and still a little bit on that warmer side versus being more of like a purpley cool brown, and I think that that really lends itself well to the rainbow super bright colors I'm going to be using on the cart and the flowers. I originally had the idea to use this cart to create my own little mini shaker within the cart because I am absolutely obsessed with the Possum Stamp Sequin mixes. If you have not checked them out, you absolutely have to. We have so many amazing colors and blends, and there's something for everyone in every card in every season, and I just can't get enough of them. So anytime I can use them on my cards, I absolutely want to, and so I just thought it would be really fun, instead of making a full shaker card, to just make the cart itself the shaker as an extra little pop-up feature. So I'm coloring in the little top of my cart, the little tabletop part, and the bottom legs with some warm grays, just because I wanted to give it the effect that maybe those areas had been kind of hand painted or something like that, just to kind of make them a little more durable. I don't know about you, but when I'm thinking through these things, sometimes it helps to make up a little story or imagine who is like running this little cart, who's selling these beautiful flowers in our little grassy field. I would love it to be me, but right now that is definitely not my day job. So I'm going across this little awning and I'm creating a rainbow pattern using three shades, I should say, of each color to create a little bit of dimension and interest on the top. And I'll be using those same color blends for each area on the card that the color appears again. So the same blues from the awning are the blues I use for the vase, and so on. I decided to do 3 blue vases and 3 of the kind of orange terracotta vases just because I knew I wouldn't be using blue anywhere else, since I haven't ever seen, you know, truly bright blue flowers like that. I mean, I guess they probably do exist, but they're just not as common as some of the other colors I had. So I thought that would be a nice way to incorporate that blue color, but I also absolutely love the look of these more kind of terracotta pots that you would see out at a plant shop in real life. So I went in with some neutral grays just to shade in that wheel and our little watering can. I also absolutely love this watering can in red. I don't know what it is about it. I just think that it makes it look absolutely so sweet, and it's something I would definitely want in my garden. But today I wanted to have all of my colors kind of repeating at least twice. So I thought it would be nice to make the can match the wheel, and just so everything would kind of tie in together. Now I grabbed some YG markers, the same as I did on my awning, to color in kind of the foliage in between all of these flowers, and to color in the little bush or shrub or a lettuce or whatever is in that tiny pot. And I did the same exact blends for all of my vases, so I just kind of cut out the yellow ones. Now I'm going in with my red combination to shade in some of those roses, and I'm also going to be going in with the pinks that I used on the end of that rainbow to shade in the rest of the roses. You could do any, obviously, kind of colors that you want. I just think that these just are so happy. I decided to go into that little basket on the cart and add in some purple tulips, and then I used yellows and oranges to shade in these little like daisy flowers and added a little pink center to each of them. I am just so in love with this stamp set. You get so many options in that spring day set. The little bunnies, the cart, the bicycle, the balloons. It's great for so many different occasions. I just think it's absolutely perfect in my stash, and it's something I've grabbed more than a few times already, and I've only had it for a little bit. So I am now going to die cut out all of my images. I'm just lining up my dies with the washi tape, and the main reason that I got this idea to create the shaker with the cart specifically is because you can see the die cuts out that center section. And to me, it's those extra little steps that make all the difference when I'm die cutting, because if I had to go in with an X-Acto knife and try to do that, I just wouldn't. So this is an extra little step that you can 100% ignore, but I trimmed out that little space on the side of that basket just because that way on the shaker you can kind of see that the sequins carry over the whole way across. Now I went and die cut myself 10 other carts, and you can see I have 7 of them already glued together, and what I'm doing is just trimming out the tabletop of the cart and that little crate or basket. This way I have somewhere for my extra sequins to kind of pile up at the bottom, so that way when you shake it, it's kind of an extra surprise of how many sequins are really in there. So I'm just going in with a little bit of liquid glue, and I am layering in my dies one at a time, just kind of taking my time and shifting them around to make sure that they are nice and lined up. If they're a little bit off, you're really not going to notice once we attach the cart on top at the end. But you want to try to get them as close to lined up and straight as you can, just so that everything looks nice and neat. And when this is done, it is nice and thick and chunky. So I am taking a little bit of clear acetate. You could also use leftover packaging, and I trimmed it to the size of my little window, and I'm adhering that down with some liquid glue. And then I'm going to add more liquid glue to the edges of that as well as the rest of the die, and we are going to put our colored cart right on top. This is so sweet. There's something about this, I just want to make this and leave it somewhere as like a decoration. It's so cute. Now it's time to put everything together to make this super sweet card. I started by adhering down my little ink blended scene to a piece of A2 size craft cardstock, which is 4¼ by 5½, and I stuck that in my MISTI really quickly just so that I could go back in with the "You Make Life Beautiful" sentiment, and I added that over to the left so it would sit nice and even kind of with the top of the window on our cart. Now I'm just going in and kind of doing a practice run to make sure that all my images are kind of fitting where I want, and I decided that if they were going to hang over the edge of my scene onto that craft, that I wanted it to hang over on both sides. Not necessarily that it's symmetrical, but just so that it has a nice balance to it. So I worked my way over from right to left just so that I could make sure that my scene was kind of, like I said, even and balanced as much as I could. And I just glued down those little pots first and kind of worked my way from the back to the front. I just find that that's easier than trying to kind of lift things up or not put glue somewhere so you can tuck them in. I just would rather kind of hold things in place and guesstimate that way. So I also knew that some of my images were going to be overlapped with the cart, which was absolutely fine by me. I think it just adds even more depth and interest to the card. And now I grabbed the absolutely gorgeous mint sequin mix, and I think it's sparkling mint, and the Dreamy Days, which is the white blend. These are so gorgeous. Now, because that window is a little on the smaller side, I did pick through my mixes and grab some of the medium and small sequins. I didn't want the super big guys in there just because I wanted to make sure that everything had lots of room to shake around, and I thought that the smaller ones would be easier to kind of hide behind that little basket and ledge that we created by cutting out that extra part of the image. So I adhered down my cart with some liquid glue, pressed it down for a good 30 seconds probably, and this is so much fun to shake around. I hope that you are feeling super inspired. I hope this gets you to try to use some of the stamps you might have in a little bit of a different way. I hope you have an amazing week, and happy crafting.